Okay guys, so in today's lecture we're going to discuss continue discussing strings. Now the worksheet that you've been given, it's the main thing for today's lecture. This video is just going to be short. What you have to do in that question, in the one of the questions, is to split a name or parse a name. So you have to use rfind and string indexing to split the name. I'm going to discuss another method that you can use to split the name. So let's say that we have that name, right? Let's put that in the quotes, the name that's given on the worksheet, right? So now you can use now there is a string function which is very important. You're going to use that a lot, which is the split function. So let's say that we have let's do that over here. So let's say you have a string, right? And let's say it's A, B, C. Like, let's take a simple one. Now if you want to split this, you can use dot split. Now this, the split is a string method. So now if you do this, you can see that it splits up the string and then converts it into a list. We'll talk more about lists later. It's just a collection of objects in Python of iterable quantities. It's similar to strings, but again we'll talk more about that later. So now you can also, so by default the split, there is a split parameter that you have to give over here or the separator that you have to give over here. So by default that's space, right? Now let's say if there's a comma in between these three letters, they're commas, so then you have to give the separator over here, right? So if you give a now you can see that it has given you the same output, right? But if you don't have any, if you have a space over here, you see nothing happens because you gave the wrong separator. So you have to be careful that you give it the right separator. So again, this is a very useful function that you'll be using a lot. So if, let's say you have hello world, you want to split it, it splits the two splits the two and gives you a list. And so these type of things are used a lot in natural language processing in Python, where you have to frequently convert a sentence into a list. Now you can split the name also, right? Based on name. So if you do name dot split, and then but by default this split separator is space, but let's type it in, right? So now if we print this out, right, you can see that we get the name separated out. Let's clear this up. Okay, so if we run this, we get three names in a list. Now what you can do, let's save this into let's call it parsed, right? Now you can then print out the first name. So parsed, now the 0. So again we'll talk about this more in detail later, but string indexing, each element in the string, right, has an index, and then we start with 0. This is 0 index, this is 1, this is 2. So this is going to print out the first name, this is going to print out the middle name, and this is going to print out the last name. So let's see that. So we have these three names together. If you want to print the first two together, you can also just type in a comma over here, and then that is gonna put the first two together and the last name on a separate line. Okay, so go ahead, try the worksheet question, and let me know if you have any questions.